Okay, so here I am going to explain what this worksheet is. So it's a little slightly different than what you saw in the PowerPoint, but it's the main focus is there. So here, this is what I was talking about when we're moving from left to right. So each column I'm going to explain. So the first 3 columns is going to be your cost of goods sold. So anything that you sell, it's going to be placed right here. Okay. And then in the middle, you have your little inventory workspace for your purchases. Okay, so it's going to be the first 6, the middle, in the middle of the 6 columns here. And then lastly, on the right side, you have your inventory on hand. Now, what's going to happen is when I show you the example, every time we make a purchase, we're going to be going into the middle, and then we're going to transfer it over into the inventory on hand. If we sell something, we're going to calculate it, and then we're going to go into our inventory on hand. So it's going to be from moving from left to right. Now this one can be tricky, and it could also be very easy. Again, today I will be using the fill handle or the highlight tool. Okay, so with that, I'm going to actually highlight my batches so that I know what I started with and what I should be ending with. So in this case, we are focusing on our FIFO. So at the end of the day, we should know that whatever we started with in the very beginning is what we're going to be ending with. But let's go ahead and proceed. So let me make this a little bigger for you guys can see. Okay, so what happened first? Oh, in case you haven't downloaded it already, it's already on the home, the Google Classroom. So if you'd like to follow along, you may do so. Okay, so what happened first?
On the purchase on May 5th,
Mm-hmm.
purchase of 1,000 units. So it will be listed under the purchases.
Mm-hmm.
1,000 at a unit cost of $3 with the price of 100.
Okay, so let me just go back to my worksheet here. So we're going to start where? We're going to start in the middle. So we have a quantity of 1,000, okay? And it's for $3, all right? And we have our freight as $100. Okay, so now we're going to calculate our total purchases. So what is my total purchases here? 3,000. Yes, we just multiply them across. So everything that we're calculating is pretty much the same. So we got $3,000 there. Good. And then what else do we need to do? Total cost, we add these two numbers together to get 3,100. So this plus this gives you 3,100. And then lastly, what is my cost per unit here? It's going to be division 310, and you are correct. And it should be 310 even. There shouldn't be any extra cents here. Now, once we've completed this section right here, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this information over, okay? So here, I'm going to transfer it over into my inventory on hand. And this is where you're going to keep your batch, this is where you're going to keep your batches. So let me go ahead and do this. So here I have a total of 3,000. Is this difficult to see for you guys, or do you want, I'm going to see if I can try to make it a little bigger. Okay, there you go. All right, so here we have 1,000 items at $3.10, and it's giving me a total of 3,100. Now, what I'm going to do is every time I make a sale or something like that, this is where I'm going to actually adjust my inventory. So let's look at this carefully. So here I could see I have 1,000, but if I were to change this number, it would automatically recalculate what my actual amount I have in inventory is. So I am going to start here. So let's go ahead and place this $1,000 back. Or I'm sorry, this 1,000 items back. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and highlight it. And what color should I use? All right, we got a red. Okay, so this is going to be my indicator that this is my first batch that I have. Okay, good. All right, let's go ahead and see what happened next. Oh! All right, what happened next?
We sold 550 units.
We sold 550 units at how much?
$10 each.
$10 each, and no sales tax. Now, my question to you is, so I sold 550 units, correct? So I'm going to go ahead and go into my section here. And I forgot to write the date. So can you tell me, what section am I going to place this 550 units sold?
Cost of goods sold.
We're going to place it in the cost of goods sold. So I believe it was 57. So 550. Now, my question to you is, am I going to put my selling price in here or my cost per item?
Cost per item.
We're going to take our cost per item. So forget about the whatever you read. Okay, so it says that we sold it for $10, but in this case, we're not calculating what our total sales is. We're calculating our total cost of goods sold, meaning we're calculating what we sold. What did we originally purchase it for? And in this case, we only have one batch, and this batch is for $3.10. Okay, so I can either choose this row here, or I can choose this one here. It doesn't really matter when it comes to you doing this, as long as you just leave it in there. Okay, so in this case, I am going to select it from here, and I copy it over here for 310. And then I'm going to multiply across, and what do I get here? 1705, okay? So in this case, I need to subtract 1705. So I'm going to go ahead and indicate it here that I'm going to subtract my 550, and I'm going to get a new total here of 450. And then here, I'm also going to calculate my grand total here. So this is going to be negative 1705, which is going to give me a total of 1395. Now, for instance, the reason why I had you guys toggle between here and here is because if you have an expensive cost per item, meaning you have 10 digits after your decimal point. This is exactly why I want to let you guys know that when you do this, when you subtract how much you actually rounded your cost of goods sold, your ending cost in your inventory on hand can change by a penny. All right, but in this case, let's go ahead and test it out. So here, I know that I've sold 550 items, and I'm at right now 450. Now you can do whatever you want to just indicate that this was a a calculation, or if anything, you could just leave it there as long as you do your work here and you know which batch you're taking. So in this case, I know I have 450 left, and boom, I get 1395 even, which is exactly what I have in my ending inventory. So here, In this case, we calculated it here and we transferred it across over on the right side. So from my red batch, I have 450 items left. Okay? Everyone with me so far?
So the first entry you put on the inventory on hand would be whatever was left from the purchase.
So yeah, because this is pretty much right here, inventory on hand. What do you have in inventory at the very current moment? In my middle section, I'm placing in my work so I know what I did here. Okay, and I'm only doing this for this week so then we can kind of get ourselves used to it. But once we gradually understand how the flow of this transaction is actually working, like transferring it from cost of goods sold into our inventory on hand, then you don't need to have your calculation here. It's unnecessary. Okay, but again, that's only if you're using Excel, because Excel can hold the formulas and it can hold the information for you, and you can easily go press your backspace. But if you're writing things down, that's where it's going to get a little tricky. Okay. So, okay, so what happened next? Okay.
50 at 325.
Uh-huh.
Freight cost of 75. So under the purchase column, quantity, you add, you put one,
Hold on. So May 10. Okay. We made a purchase of $8.50. Okay, at $3.25. Yeah, that was right. $8.50. $8.50 at $3.25, and our freight cost was 75 cents. So in this case, our freight is going to be 75 cents. I'm $75. Okay, so in here, we can't not just apply our formula over and over again because we're going to be doing calculations. So every single time we enter in a purchase, we're going to have to reiterate another formula. So what did you get? 325.
I'm sorry. 8, 27, 62, 50,
Good.
plus 75,
Mm-hmm.
plus 28, 35,
28, 30, 37.50. Good. Now, how do I find my cost per item? Or what is my cost per item? $3 and
3.34.
okay, so this one is what I was talking about. If you have an expansive number like this, nope, not working for me. Oh. Okay, so if I have an expansive number like this, and I want to extend out its number, so here I have one of these things right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have this number, right? Because we have a total of $8.50 going into our inventory. And right now, we want our cost per item is this $3.33.8, so on and so forth. And we're going to multiply across. Okay, so now we get a grand total of $2,837.50. Okay, Now that we have our second batch, what color am I going to choose this time? Just to indicate that this is the second batch.
Green.
Green. Okay, so here. Now we know that this is our second batch. So now we're going to continue our problem and go ahead and fill it in. So in this case, what happened next?
$360 sold that
Oh,
day.
Okay,
dollars.
so we sold 360, right? So let me see. Here, we're going to indicate May 12th, and we sold 360. Now, here is the question. Now, we have two different batches. What method are we using?
First in,
five.
first out.
First in, first out. So, am I going to be taking out of my red batch or my green batch?
Red batch.
And in this case, yes, we're taking out of our red batch. So I am going to come over here and I'm going to grab this number here and I'm going to multiply across. And I get a total of how much did I sell?
1116.
1116. Good. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my calculations here. Now, because we're dealing with two different batches, it is up to you how you want to see this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my 450. I'm going to bring it back down here. So this number here, I'm going to go ahead and bring that back down so then I know exactly what I'm taking out of. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and bring that back down here. Okay, so I added them together. So in this case, I'm going to copy down my 450 and I'm going to copy down for the amount that it is going to be, which is for my $13.95, and then I'm going to go ahead and subtract that. This is just for visual. Okay, if you can do this mentally, it is up to you, but I want to physically show you exactly what is going on here. Okay, and if you want to be more visual, you can actually highlight this whole thing and say, this is my red batch transaction. Okay, this is my transaction for the red batch. So here I'm indicating that I had started with 450, I subtracted 360, now I'm down to 90. And same thing and so forth here. I started with $13.95. I'm going to subtract out my $11.16, and I'm going to get a grand total of what? What do I get here? Yeah, $279. Yes. So in this case, this is where I'm showing my work, and I can indicate that by highlighting it in red, just so that I am for sure that this belongs to batch number red, right? Now in this case, I'm going to go ahead and come over here, and I'm going to edit this information. So in this case, how I have 90 items left, multiplying it across, I should get 279. All right? Is everyone with me? So as I keep making my as I keep doing my cost of goods sold, I'm transferring it into my workspace, which is my purchases area. I'm going to edit the information so then in my inventory on hand, it reflects to me how much I truly have in the inventory on hand. Okay? Everyone good so far? Okay. For any instances that I need to solve for what I have on inventory on hand, I can just easily sum this up. And I would know automatically that day that I have this much left. Okay. So, all right, let's go ahead and continue. So what happened next?
We sold 600 units.
We sold 600 units. Okay, so let's look at our batches now. Do we have enough for 600?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Oh, yes, we do. But, however, we only have 90 from our red batch, and we have the remaining is going to be taken out of our green batch. So in this case, it was the 15th of May. Okay, so we're going to have 90, and then whatever 600, whatever the difference between 600 minus the 90 is going to get you, which is 510. Okay, so we have 510 here that we need to take out of our green batch. So again, here we're going to take the red batch. Okay, and then here we're going to also take from our green batch. Okay, and let's go ahead and multiply them across. So from here, we don't even need to calculate this part because we know we're taking all of our 90. I'm just showing this to you for the sake of where I got the number from. So in this case, we know that we are selling out our entire 90 batch right here. So we're getting rid of our red batch as is. Okay? And then lastly, let's solve for the second one from the green batch. Okay? And just for, accounting purposes, just to ensure that you are making your calculations correct, I'm going to go ahead and sum them up. Because when you journalize, you're going to be journalizing for the full 600. So in this case, I'm going to indicate this in a very light color, just so that I can recognize that this is actually a calculation. Okay? Okay, so here I got my 600 units. Here, this is the total for selling my 600, the cost of goods sold for selling the total 600 units. You're going to have to add them up regardless. Okay, so there you go. I completed my cost of goods sold. Now here, since I've already, my first batch here is going to be my red one, I'm going to go ahead and indicate here that I sold my 90 units. So that means I'm at 0. All right, so I'm going to go 90 plus my negative 90, 0. Same thing here. This is just to indicate that you sold it completely off. So I'm going to subtract my 279, and I should get 0. So that's where, now that I know that this is my red batch here, I've already indicated this. And I'll highlight it if it makes sense to you. Right? So I know that my red batch is going to be 0. So I can come up here and 0 that out. It's gone. Now, there are a few things that you can do. You can come up to here and be able to unhighlight it so then it just becomes completely gone from your inventory. But in this case, I'm just going to leave it so I know I make sure that when I do my, how I look at my worksheet is I know I started off with a red batch. Here in my workspace here, I know that I zeroed it out because here I've calculated my entire transaction and it's all in red. Okay, so this is just some kind of practice that you can do just to make sure that you keep yourself in check and that you're properly taking out what you need to take out. All right, now here I need to take out from my 850, so I'm going to go ahead and copy what my green batch down here. Okay, And now I'm going to go ahead and subtract what I need to subtract. So in this case, I need to subtract 510, right? And here, I'm going to go ahead and calculate my total here. And what do I get? Yes, 340. Not looking at my answers, right?
I got lost in what I was calculating.
That's fine. Okay, so now we're going to do this, and we're going to add our negative. So we should have, at the end of the day, we should have 1135 even. And I'm going to indicate that as green, so I know that is my green transaction. Oh, wrong color. One more over. There you go. So now that I know I should have 340 at the end of my entire transaction, I'm going to go ahead and come over. Let me fill that in. I'm going to go ahead and come over to my green batch, and I'm going to place here 340. And did I get my correct number? Yes, I did. I got 1135. Okay. You see how I'm moving from left to right? I've completed my right side. I completed my left side. I completed the middle portion, and now I completed my right side. This is what I mean by you're going to go from left to right. You're going to start off with your cost of goods sold. If you don't have anything, then the next portion you got to do is the middle portion. Once you completed your middle portion, calculating your total purchases that you made, you're going to transfer it into your inventory. And this is exactly what Perpetual does, right? You're going to complete the cost that you have. You're going to complete the purchases you have. And at the overall ending balance, you're going to have in your inventory on hand. So as you can see, we started off with 1,000. We made it down to 450, and we added another purchases. Then now we zeroed out our 450, and now we are left with 350. So here, as you can see, this is us constantly updating our inventory. Okay, is everyone okay so
I
far?
have a question.
Yes.
So this doesn't have anything to do with it being sold because we sold 600 items. We're at a certain price, so we're not keeping a tally of what we sold at a certain price. We're just worried about the inventory.
As of right now, yes.
Okay.
Because again, if this was sales, that would be a completely separate thing. But right now, we're only focusing on our inventory. We're only keeping track of our inventory. So yes, good. So good observation. Yes, Mia, we are only focusing on our inventory. Okay. So, but when we dive into next week, hopefully next week, we'll see if we do. Actually, in 2 weeks from now, so the following Monday, we should be able to dive into looking at what it looks like when we're dealing with both chapter 7 and chapter 8 together, right? When we're looking at this scenario, we're going to journalize it, and how you journalize it will affect how you record in your journal as well as your inventory worksheet, okay? So in this case, we're going to for scenario number 1, right, we're just going to journalize the purchase. But when we journalize our sales, we have to have 2 entries, right? We have to record the actual sales with the selling price, and then we have to record how much it costs us to sell those items. So again, in 2 weeks from now, hopefully Monday, we'll go ahead and look into that. Okay. So where do we leave off of? We left off on the 15th of May. So therefore, what happened on the 20th of May?
You purchased
So $350 on account for $20 freight. So 300 items. So where do we start? Do we start on the left or do we start in the middle?
in the middle.
In the middle. So use your inventory worksheet to your advantage. You can use up all the space that you need because ultimately, if you're using Excel, you have all the space you have. If you're writing this down on paper, you're going to be needing to print out a lot of extra worksheets. Okay. So in this case, we purchased 300 items at $3.50. Oops. $3.50, and our freight was $25. Is that correct? $25 freight?
No,
Oh no, it's just
20.
20. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and okay. So what is my total purchases here? $10.50. All right. What's my total cost here? $10.70. Yes. What is my cost per item here?
3.5666.
Okay, so this one is 3.56666666. Let me expand it. Perfect. Okay, a lot of sixes. Okay, so you have the kind of the flexibility whether you want to keep all your inventory as is at the top, or you can just literally transfer it right all along over. And in this case, to me, it just makes sense if I just move them right across over. So I'm going to go ahead and do it right here. Now that doesn't mean I'm wrong or doesn't mean I'm right or anything, but if it's visually pleasing for you to just have them all stacked up at the top, you are more than welcome to do that. Okay, it's whatever your inventory that you want to do. So in this case, I'm gonna make sure that I keep my formulas all together, but also keep all of my inventory batches together. This way, I can recognize the date easily and also determine my value on hand. So here, let me do that calculation correct again. So this times this. Okay, so it's telling me it's too many. So it should be 1070 even. Perfect. All right. Now that this is my third batch, well, technically it's my second batch now since I got rid of my first one, but let's go ahead and choose a color. What color do I want to use this time? What color do I want to choose this time? Just to indicate this is this batch. Purple. Okay. Let's choose a friendlier purple. So we're going to go a shade lighter. There. Is that one okay?
That's blue, but that's fine.
It's okay. It's a bluish purple. Okay, yeah, you're right. It is blue. So this one is
A lighter purple is the very corner at the bottom was the standard colors.
this one. You want to use that one?
But that actually changes the number.
Oh yeah, I changed the font, not the filling. Okay, so here you go, purple. Oh, that's still a little dark, but can you guys are able to see it through it? Can you guys be able to decipher the numbers? Okay. All right. So here we've indicated our third batch. It's going to be our purple batch. Okay. And let's go ahead and see what happened next. So here, what happened on May 22nd?
$450 units sold.
Good. We sold 450 units. Now let's look at our batches carefully. From our first batch, we only have 340. So therefore, we need to do another split cost. We're going to sell out our green batch and then we're going to dip into our purple batch. So let's go ahead and indicate this problem. So on May 22nd, we have 340 and our total needs to get to, how many did we sell? We sold 450. We sold 450. So here, I'm going to go ahead and do my calculation here. I need to get to 450. So I get 110. Yes, good. And then I'm going to also ensure that this is correct, 450. Okay. Now let's go ahead and solve. Now we don't need to have our cost per item because we're getting rid of the entire 340, right? But like I said, I'll just go ahead and have it for show so you guys know what this number is supposed to be. Okay, so here my total is going to be this number here. Okay. Now, I'm going to be looking into my second batch. What is my second batch here? It's for this $3.566666, right? So, I'm going to go ahead and multiply across. And what do I get here? But I'm going to round that, right? Oops, wrong way. I'm going to round that, right, to 392.33. So in this case, I'm going to highlight this again, and I'm going to make sure that we let ourselves know that this is a calculation. Okay. And plus, when you journalize, this is what you got to journalize. You got to journalize the whole total amount. Okay. So in this case, you can choose what to do. So in this case, I'm going to grab my green batch of 340. And I'm going to copy the information down here. And I'm going to zero it out because I sold the entire 340. So therefore, my amount comes to 0. Same thing over here. We're going to indicate that we sold the total of 1135. And here, I'm going to indicate that now this is 0. And I'm going to highlight this so then I know for sure that this amount here belonged to the green batch. Oh, dang it, wrong one. Belongs to the green batch. Okay. And then from here, I can go ahead and zero this out completely. It's gone. All right, now we're going to be pulling down the information from the purple batch. And we're going to go ahead and subtract my 110. And I should get how much? $300. Okay, thank you. 190 because we're subtracting them. Okay, same thing here. We're going to subtract our total for 392.33.
677.67.
Oops, just give me a second. Let me undo that. And I am going to get 677.67 is correct. And I'm gonna go ahead and highlight the in purple because this belongs to my purple batch. And then I'm going to go ahead and change the value here. So I have no longer 300 items. I have a total of 190. And it says here that I should have 677.67. All right. Then let's go ahead and see what happened next on the 25th of May. At 375 and the freight is 50. Good. So $3.75 at and then $50 freight. Did I buy 650 units? That's what it said, right? 650. Good. So what is my total purchases here? 243,750. All right. And then what is my total cost here?
24875.
Good. And what is my cost per item here?
3.8269.
All right, we know that it's a long mumble jumbo. I just want to display it so you guys know not to round just yet. And that we're planning to keep our numbers like this for optimal purposes. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to also indicate, I'm going to go throw it over here so I know that I have 650 and we know that it is at this price here. And we know that by multiplying them across, it gives us a total of $242,487.50. All right, and then now I'm going to highlight this. Since we went through red, since we went through green, and we went through purple, I'm going to go ahead and go through blue. Color we haven't gone through yet. Okay, 650. Perfect. Now, what happened next?
Units sold.
Good. 740 units were sold. So let's look at our batch here. We have a batch for 190 and we have a batch for 650. So here we need to for surely split our cost. So let's go ahead and do that right there. Oh, I forgot to put the date. So what was the date of the purchases? I think it was on the 25th. 5/25, and then when we sold was on 5/27. So here we need to indicate that we have 190 left, and our number needs to get to 740. So we need to sell 550 from our blue batch. Okay, so again, since we are going to take out our entire batch of 190, again, I will demonstrate to you that it is this number, but we don't really need to calculate it because we know at the end of the day we're zeroing out the entire thing. So it should be for the remaining of 677.67 cents. Okay, And then now we're going to solve for our second batch here. So we just recently purchased this. We know that it is $3.82. So what is my total here? 2,104.81. Okay, now let's make sure that these numbers actually match. So they don't match. So I'm gonna have to resort to equal round. So I'm going to solve this one times this one, comma, and I want 2 decimal points. Okay, so there you go. Now we have 2,782.48. Okay, so for those who don't know what I just did, what I did is, since this number is such a long number, what I did is I went ahead and rounded this number right here. Now this is the only number you can round because this is the number that we're going to be using in our journal. And this is where most journal entries do actually become, what do you call it? A lot of people make errors here because when they do not round in Excel on this section right here in our total cost when we journalize, as you saw earlier, my total cost of the inventory was 1 penny off. If I were to journalize this, I would have made my mistake right there because of that 1 penny difference. Okay, because 7 plus 1 does not equal 7. 7 plus 1 equals 8. So in this case, I just rounded that number and now I get my perfect number that I'm looking for. All right, I'm going to also indicate that this is a calculation. Okay, and now we can go ahead and proceed to what we need to complete. So in this case, we are going to bring down our purple. So we know we have 190. And we're going to bring down the whole entire thing for 677.67. We're going to subtract our 190 just to show that we did our calculations and that we're actually physically getting rid of it. And there you go. And I'm going to highlight this and indicate it as purple. Okay. So then now I can come here and zero it out completely. Boom, it's done. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring down my second portion, which is the blue batch. Okay. And I'm going to copy down the total cost here. And I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 550 that I sold. There you go. So now I should have 100 units left in my blue batch. Okay. And then lastly, let's go ahead and subtract this total cost of my number here. And I copied the wrong formula. So it's supposed to be this one. And it's supposed to be there you go. Okay, so here, say that again. 382.69. Good. And I'm going to highlight this because this is my blue batch. Okay. So then I come over here and I only have 100 items left. And if it multiplies across, there you go, $382.59. Okay, so just looking at here, since I don't have batch 1 and I don't have batch 2, I don't have batch 3, all I have left is my batch, my blue batch for $382.69. Now here I can total up how much I sold, which we should already know by calculating it over on the other hand. But this is just for at the end of the period purposes for you to just make sure that the amount that you sold matches up and your calculations matches up and the total amount of inventory on hand at the end of the day matches up. So in this case, does it match? It says you have 100 items on hand. Yes, so we did this correctly. All right. Any questions in regards to this worksheet? It's very colorful. Yes, it is. And this is the easiest way to show you how to do it first before you can go ahead and be able to do this on your own and make it super clean however you want to do it. But this is the best way for me to show you how to understand from moving from left to right and why am I doing this and to properly zero out each account or each batch of inventory, right? Do you guys, anybody have any questions in regards to this?
It looks all confusing to me, so I'm gonna have to go to some places and just kind of figure it out because that was a whole lot going on, and for me to not be able to do it with you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of lost. And I just mentally this morning to have to go back and follow through it all over again. It's not gonna work because that was like information overload for me.
Okay.
Because I get, the part where you put the information in, but transferring it over
Uh-huh.
and all the calculations and stuff, I got kind of lost because I'm watching you do it
Mhm.
and trying to figure it out. But yeah.
Okay. So, from other students' point of views, there I do have two sides to that story. For those who are following along, they get themselves lost too because they're not watching what I'm doing. So it's a double-ended sword there. Say that again?
I'm watching what you're doing. It's just like it's so much going on as I'm watching
Mm-hmm.
that I got lost.
Okay. Well, like I said, this is the easiest way that I can show you what you're doing and why you're doing it. So again, this does take practice. No worries. It does take practice. Again, for those who are more new to this, it does take practice, and that's why this chapter, just seeing how it is, a lot of people can get confused because of you're constantly having to calculate. You're constantly doing this. Oh, I gotta do this. But if you are the inventory manager, right, and you're doing this on a daily basis, you need to find some kind of methodology for you to organize your data. Because if you just leave it all non-colored, you don't highlight, you don't do any of that thing, let me know. Tell me what happens when 4 days later you come back to your inventory worksheet and you're like, I have no idea what the heck happened. So, again, it's based on individual. So in this case, it does take a lot of practice. So don't worry. That's what the next 2 weeks is about. Again, we spent 2 weeks for periodic. We're going to spend 2 weeks for perpetual. So this is just the first method that we're learning. Okay? And we're going to go ahead and practice it.
Via Excel next week.
Say that again?
So will we be doing this like via Excel next week? Will we be doing it on the Excel spreadsheets? Because like you said, writing it out, because I printed it out thinking I was going to be able to write it out, and I was just like, let me just pay attention.
That's what I did myself. you can do.
Like, I started
And then
writing down, I was like, okay,
and
I'm
it
getting
seems like,
lost.
will there be some formulas? Because I know the way you were presenting and everything. So it's just a matter, the way I understand is setting up a formula on each category or columns in order to, as you subtract any or deduct any of the purchases,
Uh huh.
so it automatically update the inventory
Uh huh.
and things like that with the presentation. And probably, granted that we use this, granted we are new with our job, and this is our responsibility is probably we'll just have to have two screens where
Oh
we are
yes.
calculating by ourselves this kind of thing, and then when it comes to presentation, just a matter of transferring the actual
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm,
to
mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm. And this
inventory.
is exactly why it's so difficult to do this online.
Lynn, can I
Yes.
make a small suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
This now here we have three columns: one for cost of goods sold,
Mm-hmm.
and one for purchases, and
Mm-hmm.
one for inventory in
Inventory.
hand.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than complicating this purchases with the cost of goods sold,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now I just tested the method. We just update only the purchases in that column
Mm-hmm.
without doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say 1,000
Mm-hmm.
into three, that is cost per item, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cost of goods sold, we only update the sales there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now, mm-hmm. Go ahead.
inventory in hand, we just keep on changing the amounts and get a final figure. And
Correct.
after that,
Mm-hmm.
we calculate the inventory and deduct it from the total cost of goods sold. It
Mm-hmm.
is totally tied to the inventory in hand.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we will be doing next week. We're not going to have this mumble jumbo in the middle. But from my past experience of teaching this, people were like, where did these numbers come from? Where are you taking this out of? Why? Where is this calculation even coming from? It's coming out of nowhere. So this is me taking it back a step. This is me showing you what it looks like just the way it is in the beginning, okay? This is me showing you under purchases how I am actually transferring from left to right? This is me taking my cost of goods sold and effectively taking it out of each batch. So it makes sense because a lot of times when I save this thing and if I did it the way you were talking about, yes, your testing method is true because I will show you exactly that next week. But for now, if I were to post this and this whole thing was empty and you're a student, you don't know what the heck happened, you're gonna come up to me and be like, I don't know how you got this answer because the whole section in the middle is blank. Yes. Do you kind of see where my thought process is coming from?
You can itemize step by step
Exactly. This is
important.
me to show you now, especially for those who are more newer to this. It's already confusing as is to go back and forth and just keep calculating. Now, and then I understand that, of course, Tennyson, you have a lot of experience in accounting. You're actually really good at this. So yes, but we have to also make sure that the those that are newer to accounting are on the same page. So I need to pull them up to your level. So that portion when we eliminate doing the whole mumbo jumbo in the middle section, we eliminate that next week. I'll show you how to do that as well. And but for right now, I just want to make sure that you guys understand what you're doing at hand. Why are you taking this out of the inventory? How are you telling me to do this? Okay? So the next portion here is going to be a continuation. If you'd like, I would love to test that out, but again, I wanna make sure that the students that've never been exposed to accounting understand what's going on before I dive into that kind of method because we will dive into that method going on forth. This is not the way I do it. Trust me. I absolutely do not do this. I hate this, to be honest. I don't even color code it. But for those who don't know where these things are coming from, why am I taking from this batch? Why am I color coding it? It's based on each individual. If it makes sense to color code it, then color code it. The reason why I color code it is because no matter where you are in your inventory and you're updating it, how do you know what batch came first? Yeah. Of course, we can just have them all piled up here, and then, from there, we can see, okay, well, I have this batch here, this batch here, this batch here. But there's other methods out there where we don't do it in order like that. There's other methods when we dive into the moving average. I'm going to show you a technique that I actually use, and it works best for me, and it will make sense to you without this whole color scheme idea. Okay?
You're saving this for us to be able to refer back to, right?
Correct. So that's why I'm doing this, so then you know where these numbers come from, instead of, because like I said, the way I do it, I don't do the calculation at all in the middle. I do Tennyson's way, where I only use the left side, which is my cost per item. I use my purchases for just my purchases, and I use my inventory on hand just for inventory on hand. And I do not do any calculations except for my purchases in the middle. Now, if I were to save that worksheet completely blank, you're going to come up to me and be like, I have no idea what the heck and how you got to this answer. And with Excel, right, if I save this file on Google, you cannot go back and you cannot Control Z until you understand what the heck happened. So this is exactly why I'm recording this, to show you step by step exactly how I got here. But when I post the answers, you wouldn't look at me with, dead eyes. Make sense? So this is me showing you step by step on exactly what I did and how I transferred from left to right, and how each step I've done has zeroed out everything in my inventory. So that is what my goal is, to make sure that you guys understand the step-by-step processing when it comes to this inventory method. Okay? Now, the next section is going to be a continuation. So I'm going to have you guys tell me how you guys want to fill this out. Okay? So let's go ahead and do part 2 of our inventory method. Okay?
Lynn, I wanted to
Yes.
say something.
Mhm.
What helped me on the test was because some of the lessons are you record them.
Mhm.
So I go to YouTube and I'll watch a section, then I'll stop it, and I
Mhm.
might go back listen to it again.
Mhm.
So that's what me, because I like right now I'm kind of iffy, but I'll go back to the YouTube
Mhm.
and review it.
Perfect. And this is why this specific example, right? The other exercises, they're more like, oh, do you know this or do you not know this? This one is, I think, one of the more important ones that I should record for this class, so then you guys are able to follow along. Okay. Any other comments? Sorry about that, guys.
So you said you should record, so are you going to record?
What do you mean?
If you should, then I need you to, so I can go back and refer to how you're doing everything.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question? I was trying to get some water.
You made a statement that you should record. I said, are you going to record, so we can refer back to, this when we're doing our exercises or even the quiz or exam.
I am not going to record the quizzes or exams because I use those exams over and over again.
My question is, are you going to record this exercise so we can refer back to it? So that when we are having our quizzes and or exams, we have this particular visual recording to be able to refer back to.
Of course. It's recording right now.
Oh, well, you said that you should, which means in my mind, I didn't think that you were.
No, I said this is one of the more important ones yeah, anyways, yes. I did say should. That I am recording, so right now it's recording right now. And I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was choking, so I didn't want that to be on there. But in this case, it is recording right now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, so the exact one that you guys are doing in class with me with the same colors, okay? So you guys are not confused because I have this recording for previous classes, but I'm gonna do every single class that I record is going to be for this specific class, as in this is your recording, okay? It's not gonna be some other student's recording or other classes recording, okay? But yes, this is fully recorded. And yes, any other questions in regards to this? Or just inventory in general? Because I want to be able to go through the second section of the example here. So, us having beginning inventory. And this time, I'm going to have you guys tell me how you fill it out. Okay. So,
Based on what we understood, with your presentation.
of course. And again, if you need to stop and think about it, just I'll gear you towards the correct answer. But let's go ahead and continue. So here on May 31st, we have a total of 100 items on hand. And we know that from the previous one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and give you this one because I'm going to show you what you got to do. So in this case, we're going to look at our previous one. This is a continuation, correct? So here we're going to continue on forth with our batch of 100 items at $362.50. So here on my inventory worksheet number 2, where am I going to place this? So my batch was 100. Okay. And 300, yes. I'm going to go ahead and cell reference this. I'm going to take from this one because I know this is what I'm going to be looking at. And I know that just by multiplying them across, right, simple formula, I know I need to be at the end of the day my $362 and 69 cents. Okay. All right. Oh, you want to keep it purple? I mean, you want to keep it blue?
Was that the purple, the last one that you had there, or blue?
This one was blue. It's up to you. Do you want to use the same colors? Does it help you?
So far right now, that's something we have to refer to, but that's up to everyone.
I'm fine with it being blue.
You fine with it being blue?
I think consistent is important.
Okay. So we'll keep it blue. All right. So what has happened now? Let's go back to our scenario. So what happened on June 5th?
Purchase of 800 on June 5th
Mm-hmm.
at $4 each, with
Mm-hmm.
the cost of 100.
Okay, so
So we put that on the
Just
middle quantity.
okay, hold on. Let me do the date first. So June 5th.
Okay.
Oh, 6/5. Okay. And we're gonna go into the middle. Right?
Yes, middle.
At $4 each. And then my rate was 100. All right, I'm gonna. Wrong one. There you go. Okay, so I'm gonna multiply them across. I'm gonna multiply across. So what is my answer here? 3,200. And what's my total cost? 3,300.
300.
And what is my cost per item?
4.13.
You could do 4.125 because that's going to be, we're not rounding yet. So 1.4, 4.125, okay? What do I do next? We're just gonna leave it like that?
Oh, you gotta do the, we have to do the cost of goods?
Okay.
What we're doing next?
You don't want to transfer it into inventory on hand? Okay, no, I'm just asking because if you don't want to do that, that's fine too.
Yeah, you put an inventory in hand.
That's right.
So you
900.
have something to subtract every time you sold something.
Okay.
You have your reference.
Mm-hmm. So in this case, I have 800 items. That is going to cost me $4.12.5. I'm going to multiply them across. So then every time I change this number, it's going to change this overall cost right here. So you know what the cost is at all times. Okay, so what happened next?
350 units sold.
At 10.50 each.
Okay,
Good, so
good. Cost of goods sold. What was the date?
June 7th.
June 7. Good. All right, where am I placing this units that I sold?
Cost of goods sold.
under quantity.
Under which one? Quantity is in all three sections.
Cost of goods sold.
Cost of goods sold, yes. What was my total that I sold?
350 units.
350 units. Now, go ahead.
And then the cost. 8269,231.
8. Where are you getting this number from?
283.
Are we gonna,
Cost per item.
Say that again. 1.82. Okay, good. I see there were the 1.82. Okay, good.
the cost per item, would it be the 3.8269231?
That would be under, instead of putting the 350. I'm following the step that she previously showed, the first practice.
Okay, so what do
You need to take 100 first, and then for the next purchase, right?
correct? We need to split this cost because what are we doing?
You're getting rid of your inventory, so you have 100 left on hand. Take away the 100, then you need to take 250 from the 800.
Correct. We need to split the cost, so we only have 100 available, and we're using FIFO. All right. Can we take 300 out of the 100 we have?
No.
No, we cannot. So we need to split the cost. So we have 100 here, and then hold on, let me see. What was our total amount that we sold? We sold 350. Okay. So back here. So how much? So my total needs to be 350. How do I get to 350? How many more batches? How many items do I need to sell from batch number 2?
We need to pull 250 from batch number 2.
Correct. All right. So 250, and I'm going. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there. You guys gonna have to do that yourself. Okay. So here. So now I split my cost. Now, What do I need to do now first? Now I have to get rid of my first batch, right? For $1.82. Good.
Yeah,
How?
382.
Mm-hmm.
Total cost 382.69.
Good. Just let me put my formula in. I apologize. So here, multiply this. Okay.
It should be 1031.25, right?
231. Okay, so we're taking from the $4.125.
$31.
$1,031.25. Is that what you got? I mean, is that what everyone got? Sorry.
That's what I got.
Okay. So what do we do next?
Can you explain what Julie had said earlier, subtracting from the inventory on hand for June 7th entry?
Okay. Yes. So,
Explain how you,
okay. We started off right here, right? We started off by adding our beginning inventory, correct? We have a beginning inventory of 100 items. This is from the previous section that we had before. Now, what costing method are we using? First in, first out. Correct. So therefore, this is considered batch number 1. Our blue batch here, that's considered batch number 1. We made a second purchase of our 800 items, and this right here is our batch number 2, right? Now, in this case, we were just given the scenario that we sold a total of 350 items. Now, remembering from this, right? Can you take 350 items from our first batch?
no,
No, because we only have 100, right? So that means by default we need to dip into our second batch. Okay, does that make sense?
got it.
So, because we only have 100 units that we can sell from our first batch, how much more items do we need to sell to reach to a total of 350 items?
You mean how many more units do we have to pull
Mhm.
from inventory on hand from
Correct.
the 800?
Correct.
The
Ha-
250 that have to come from the 800, that leaves 550 on hand in inventory.
Okay, good. Yes, so in this case, our goal here is to, when we sell our items, we need to reach 350. And in this case, our box number 1 only had 100 items. So we got rid of our first 100 items. Now the next thing is, how many more do I need to take out of the second box? And in this case, our goal is to get to 350. We got rid of 100. So 350 minus 100 gives you 250. That's how many total that you need to take out of the second box. Yes? Is that clear?
I don't think we were questioning that. I think a lot of times, I know for me, like when you did it the first time, it was when you were taking the quantities out of the inventory on hand and just, like I said, all the movement. I don't think we're questioning, the amounts being taken out. It's just like the formulas of how, everything is going.
Okay.
Because I know you got your 250 out from, that's in the cost of goods sold, and we have the $4.12, whatever the case may be, and then we have the total cost. Now it's going back to subtracting the 250 from the 800 that we have, and
Okay.
calculating that number. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah. You're telling me what to do, so you tell me. So
So I'm just saying, so now we just need to go ahead and, with the inventory on hand, subtract the 250, so that we'll know that we'll have 550 on hand left at $4.125.
now, so you want to just go straight into the inventory in hand?
I mean, didn't we just subtract the 250 from the inventory on hand, the second batch?
Not yet. We're still on cost of goods sold because she asked me. The question was how did I get 250? She was asking me why did I need to split the cost, and how did I split the cost? So we're done with cost of goods sold, right? Is everyone okay with cost of goods sold?
I understand that part.
Okay. Now where do we go forth? What do you want to do next?
Okay, for the quantity.
You have to, well, I'm basing it from your
Yeah.
first explanation. So we'll zero out the 100,
Mhm.
the first inventory.
Okay.
So on quantity, that would be 100, and then at a cost of 382.69 total cost.
Okay. And we're subtracting this, right?
Yeah, we were subtracting.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm sorry.
I'm doing what you're telling me. You told me to put 100 in there. Okay. So we're subtracting, correct?
We're subtracting, so minus 100.
Good.
Zero out.
So in this case, what was this one? 382.69. And we're subtracting 382.
I'm just basing it from your presentation, your explanation. So those are zeroed out.
Mm-hmm. So then what?
And then to that, and then you put 800 minus 250. 800 minus 250. That's 550.
550. Good.
And then the cost on the 800 is 3,300.
Okay. Minus.
Subtract the 1,031.25.
Okay. And we get how much?
I don't have the figure. 1,031.25 was 2268.75.
Good.
Then you transfer the 550 on the inventory. We're updating the inventory in hand. That would be 550. And then we put up the 2268.75. That's how I understand it. So correct me if I'm wrong.
That is perfect. If you're going to utilize your middle part to go ahead and do that, you can do that. Yes. Good. What about this 100 blue right here? What are we going to do there?
I'll zero it out.
Yes. Zero it out.
You already disposed.
Good.
You already sold.
Yes, we already sold it. So now how much items do we have on inventory on hand as of today? Or as of June 7th? What's your total amount of inventory on hand?
550.
Good.
The cost of 2268.75.
Good.
I don't know if there's something to be input in between the unit cost, purchase, and price under the purchase.
No. We're not calculating any inventory.
Anything. Okay.
Okay. Good.
We can change color as a reference. Okay?
Do you want to change the color?
I don't know. It's up to everyone. So
That's
we
fine by
have
me.
preferences, you know.
Yeah, I think that, like I said,
Since we are
but the color coding is helpful.
That helps.
All right, so what color you want?
Orange.
Orange. Yeah, I was going to say, let's do orange. We haven't seen that one yet. There you go. Okay. So remember, so good so far. Just I would recommend you indicate this color as soon as you get the second batch, so you know not to, so you know which batch you're taking out of. Okay? Because I could say, oh, the 550 batch. Well, that's not going to be 550 anymore. So
Not only that, when what if something comes out also the same figure, you know?
exactly. So indicating colors usually help you. Second thing, or maybe something, if you want to add a second column, it's up to you, another column here saying this is batch number 1, this is batch number 2. Whatever way that it makes it easier for you to understand, you do it your way. Okay. So what happened next?
Another purchase on June 10th,
Mm-hmm.
750 at 425 with $75 for tax.
Okay, so let me see here. Um, what was the date again? June 10th?
June 10th
Where am I going to put this now?
on the middle bar.
Yes.
I cannot see that.
What is the total amount I purchased?
750. Was it 750? I'm sorry, Mr. Martin. At $4. No, 425.
750 at $4.25 each.
It's 75.
$4.25. And
75 with 40 cents. I'm sorry, for tax. Tax 326,250.
326,250. Okay. What's my cost per item?
$4.35.
$4.35. Even Steven?
Yes.
Perfect. Oop, oop, up. Wrong way. Even Steven, $4.35. All right, what do we do next? What do we do next?
Put that on the inventory.
Okay. So we have a total of 750 items at $4.35, which gives us a grand total of $32.62.50. Perfect. Okay. Anything you want to do to it now?
The color. The
Yes.
color again. The June 7, the 800, the one that starts with 800 after the zero dot the
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Did you guys want to transfer it across? Or do you want me to bring it up here? I can bring it up here. I can bring the quantity up here so you can see visually that how it is. So this is 750 at $4.35.
they're next to one another.
And that way they're next to each other so you guys can indicate what came first.
Yes.
By the way, for those who don't know, I've already inputted every single format of this worksheet on there. I have a Word document, I have a printable document, and I also have Excel. They're all there. So, just a little FYI. In case you did want to follow along with me, you may do so. Okay, so Okay, so we have it up here. Now we know that's their third batch. Do you want to put a color or no?
I would. As I said again, it seems like me and I forgot her name.
Adina. Adina. I think it should, I mean, like, again, for consistency's sake and for us to have to refer back to it, I think that helps.
Okay.
Pink, if there's a pink around.
Pink.
Yellow, good.
Oh, you want to do yellow? Pink, I have to actually, besides this salmon color, that's the closest I can get to pink.
Go ahead and do yellow.
Go ahead and do yellow. Yellow, schmellow. Okay. All right. Is that good enough for you guys to differentiate between orange and yellow? All right. Okay, so what happened next?
450 units were sold.
450 units were sold. Okay, so what do I do with that 450? Wait, let me see the date. Date was June 12th, so 450 items were sold. So what am I going to do with there?
What are your cost of goods?
Go to your cost of goods sold for here for June 12th. Right? What am I going to be, where am I going to be putting this for? Oh, never mind, you just said that. 450. Good. Good.
125.
Enough numbers. There's still enough quantity.
Good. There's enough quantity. We don't need to do a split cost. So in this case, we can just freely take away from our orange batch. Okay. And what do we get here? What's my calculation here? 1856.25 is correct. Right? Now what do I do?
Just the quantity in hand.
Okay, adjust the quantity on hand. Okay? How do you want to adjust it?
100.
It's 100?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Now do the quantity in the purchases, or like where you started doing all the calculations
okay.
for the inventory, next to total cost, we
Uh-huh.
subtract 450 from that.
Okay. You want to do your calculations in the middle section.
That's where we started. I'm just asking. That was more like a question than a statement.
Okay. Yes, you can do that. But what Tennyson did right here is he just automatically took it right out of the inventory.
Got you.
But my question is to you.
Calculation on the quantity side. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we just got he said to update the inventory on hand, and that's what I did.
Righteous.
Now, question to you. Do you know anything that happened?
What do you mean? Do I know anything that happened?
What I mean is, do you know what happened to that orange batch?
You took 450 out of it. It was
Okay.
550. You subtracted 450, leaving 100 items in that
Okay.
section.
How do we know that we started with 550?
I know we started with 550 because I was looking at it.
Right. But when, let's say I open up this page again, can you tell me that originally you had 550?
No.
And that's precisely what I mean. You would open up your new page and be like, so let's say the next day, right, on the 15th of June, you open up your page and it's completely empty. How would you know what happened there?
Unless I'm the person that took care of all of it, I wouldn't know.
Exactly. No, but even on a daily basis, believe me, you're going to be doing inventory. Let's say you are the inventory manager and you're doing this every single day. You can expect every day is never going to be the same. You can expect one day you could be so exhausted, you open this and you're like, what in the world am I even looking at? Every day is a different day, circumstance wise. But yes,
So does it make sense to just go ahead and do the subtractions in column E?
if it helps you,
Everything?
if it helps you. And in this case, that's why I'm questioning you right now. I'm questioning what you know and what you're going to tell me. So,
Honestly, I don't know shit, so I'm just on here.
what I'm trying to say is, that's what I'm saying. So in this example right here, we skipped the middle section. We didn't bother to do our calculations and we went straight to inventory on hand and we just cleared it out. My question to you is, by doing that, right? It's not wrong and we will look into it later in the future. But tell me, every time you open up an inventory worksheet and your inventory worksheet is blank like this, how would you know what happened?
I just told you I wouldn't know. Unless, so like I said, quantity over in column E, we were doing the calculations and subtracting the inventory from there.
Correct.
So that's the only way I would know based on everything that was taking place in column E.
Exactly. So, I mean, again, it's preference. But in this case, do you want to just continue?
Me personally, I'm all about consistency. So if that's how we started, in my mind, that's how we need to finish in order for me to grasp the concept.
Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back real quick and enter in our calculation here. So in this case, we started, what number do we start off with? 550, right? How much are we getting rid of? Or how much should we sell? 450. So therefore, how much should we have at the end of the day? 100. All right. Go away. Go away. Okay, so how much did my total cost of 550 cost me?
75.
Good. Right? How much are we actually subtracting? 1856.25. Okay, good. So therefore, we should have a grand total of how much? 412.50. Good. Exactly. 100 items at $4 and 12.5 cents gives you 412.50. And good. Now we can verify with our inventory on hand that we did the calculation correct. So this is also another accuracy thing. Okay, so here we demonstrated what we did. Okay, and here it makes sense for us to go ahead and eliminate that 100 items. Okay, good. What happened next? We're coming up.
June 15, 500 units were sold.
June 15, 500 units were sold. Okay, June 15, 500 units were sold. Good. So we should be coming up on our break, but what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to finish this out, take a break, and then come back and do the lecture? Or we'll see how today is. If we end at 11, I'm just probably gonna let you guys go.
I'm cool with finishing what we started with this particular June
Okay.
15.
So yeah, we'll skip the break now. Okay. If you need to go to the restroom, just go. Okay. So what happened here? We're sold. Good. Now let's go to our inventory worksheet. Now, this was on June 15. June 15. Where are we going to put this 500 items?
We had to split it 100 and 450.
Yes, we have to split it. Tennyson is correct there because can we take 500 items out of our first batch of 100?
No.
No, we don't have enough. So we need to dip into our second batch. So yes, we have 100 and our goal is to get to 500. So we need to take out 400. We sold 500, right? Let me see. We sold 500. Good. second inventory page. So we notice that we have 100 items left in the orange batch, and we need to take 400 out of our yellow batch. So what numbers am I plugging in here? Yep, 412.50. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, good. What about the 400? What is my cost per item for for the yellow batch?
435.
435. Good. Okay. And then what is my total cost going to be here?
1740.
1740. Oh, I don't know why there's 3 decimals here. Let's shrink it back one. Okay. So here, what are we going to do?
You know, take it out of the purchases.
Good.
So subtract 100.
Good.
1250.
So here we have the previous one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in 100 or subtract 100 to get me to 0. I'm going to subtract my 412.50 to get myself to 0. Right? What else needs to happen?
And then the 400. Subtract the 400
What was my original batch?
from the 750, the yellow batch.
Correct. So here, I have it all the way up here, 750. I'm subtracting 400. So what's my total that I'm going to be having at the end of the day?
350.
350. Here, let me see, 750 cost me this much right here. And what am I subtracting from this 750 amount, or this 3,262.50?
1740.
Correct. And in this case, we get how much?
1522.50.
1522.50 is correct. So what do we do now?
Move it over to inventory on hand.
Okay.
Or not, or change it.
Yes.
To 750.
Okay, so we change to 750.
You have to zero out the orange batch,
We first got to zero out our orange batch. Good.
and then take the remaining, what was that, 350?
350.
350. Okay.
2250.
Good. See? And this way we can definitely see that good. We match 100%. Okay. Good.
I have clarity.
Was that a question?
No, that was a statement. I said, now that we've done it again,
Yes.
go around, I have a better understanding as to how it all went down.
Good. Like I said, we're spending 2 weeks to practice. So that's what this whole. I'm not gonna let you guys sink after learning this. After learning about this, we're gonna go over practice. You know me. We've done it multiple times. Okay, so what happened on the 20th of June? Mm-hmm. With a freight cost of 20. So, what was the date again? 410? June 20th. Okay, so where am I going to be placing this 600 items I bought? Um,
600
and how much did it cost you?
405. 405.
405.
2430.
2430. And then how? $20 freight.
2450.
2450. Hold up, you're going too fast. I'm trying to type this in. All right, go ahead. And then
$4, 408,333.
408,333. Let me expand that out so you guys know this isn't a round number. Okay, so then what happens now?
Put it over in inventory.
Okay, so here we have 600 items and it's going to cost me 408, and we're going to multiply them across. Now, do you want to choose another color? Oh,
Green.
what did you say? Gray? You want to do it gray?
Green.
Oh, green. Okay. Green it is. Okay. Good. Now what happened next on June 22nd? Okay, we sold 250 units. 250 units. Okay. Now, are we taking this from our first batch, or second batch, or let me see? Sorry about that. So we're taking 250 items. Now, let's look at our batches. Do we have enough from our yellow batch?
Yes, and we can take it off from that batch.
Correct. We're going to take that right off from that batch. So in this case, it cost me, what, $4.35? All right. And if I calculate this, what do I get?
$1087.50.
$1087.50. And then where are we taking this 250 from? Yeah, so I'm gonna take my 350 from up here, subtract my 250, so I should get how much left? 100, good. I'm going to subtract my 1085.50, and I should get how much left?
435.
435 even. Okay, and then in this case, what do I do here? Update it. How many do I have left? Good, I only have 100 left, and it matched my total cost of $435 even. Good. All right, we're almost done here, guys. Okay, so in this case, what about June 27? Actually, wait, yeah, June 20. Wait, we're on June 25th.
June 25th.
Okay, June 25th. We purchased 350 items for 435 at 50. Okay. So here we're looking at June 25. Where are we putting in our purchases? Oop, I gotta go down one more. June 25. So we're gonna put our purchases in this area here. How much did I purchase? $350 at $4.35. What is my total purchase here? $1522.50. Okay. How much was my freight?
50,
50. And
giving you a total of 1572.50.
hold up. Wait, let me see. Is that right? Freight was 50? Oh, freight was 50. Jeez. Okay. So now, good. how much is my cost per item here? This one's gonna jump up.
$4.49, 285.
$4.49. Wow, we went from 408 to a huge number.
Expand it.
Yep, I'm going to expand it.
44.98 cents.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then lastly, what are we gonna do now?
Take it to the top for inventory.
Mm-hmm. So we got a new batch of 350, and it's gonna cost us per item is going to be $4.49. And we're just gonna multiply across, so every time we enter in a new piece of information, it calculates for us. Oh, excuse me, automatically. So in this case here, we got 1572.50. Good. We matched. All right. Now, lastly, what has happened next? Yes, we did. We sold 550 units. Oop, let's go to the second inventory worksheet. And we sold this on June 27. June 27 for 550 units. Now, let's look at what we have. Can we take 550 units out of our batch of 100?
Yes.
Yes, we can, but we can only take 100.
You can take only 500. And then the difference
We
is
still have 100 left in our yellow batch.
Correct, right, yes. Okay.
input that 100 first and then the difference from that green batch.
Okay, perfect. So our goal is to get to 550. We have 100 from the yellow batch, and then we're going to take 550 minus the 100 to get 450 from the green batch. Okay, so again, I'm going to do this for show. What is my 100 batch worth? $4.35, which gives us a grand total of $435. Okay, what about our second batch? Our green batch. Our green batch cost us how much? 4083 blah blah blah. Good. And then lastly, what am I going to do? What is my total cost for selling those 450 items?
1837.4985.
We got 381837.49 something something, which rounds to 50 cents even. Okay. So now what do we do here?
We do our calculations of subtracting 100.
Okay.
Zeroing it out.
Zeroing it out. Good. So here should be 435. And we are subtracting 435 to get a grand total of 0. Good. What is our second calculation going to look like?
450.
Where are we taking the 450 from?
Oh, out of the last 600. My apologies.
Yep, good. We're taking it out of our green batch of 600. So 600, and how many items did we sell from the 600? 450, which gives us how much left?
250.
Ooh, 150. Yes, 150. All right. Now we're going to have to calculate their total amount here. So my total amount for the 600 was 2450. And how much are we taking out of the 2450? 1837.50, and that's going to give me how much?
$612.50.
$612.50. So now what do we do up here?
put 150 on that, on the quantity.
Good. And then
Do you
do,
zero out the first batch, the yellow?
yes, we do.
You're right. You're right. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
I go immediately to that. It's the second time to respond the same. Thanks,
That's
Bill.
okay, we're both learning.
Yes, we're all learning. Okay. So let's go ahead and confirm our last batch of information. So on June 30th, you should have a total of 500 items on hand. And let's verify that. Does 150 plus 350 equal 500? Yes, it does. Now, what you can do is at the very end, when you reach the end of the period, you can total up your inventories here. So I can put total here.
When you put the total, do you have to itemize again? Because those are two different items with different corresponding prices. Or you just total, just the quantity.
Yeah, when you're dealing with inventory on hand, you're just going to do the total quantity and the total cost, but you don't need to do the item. But when you transfer it into the next section, right, because we're doing FIFO, right, we need to keep our information separate. So in this case, you have to keep those pieces of information separate. So here, I'm going to go ahead and enter that in. There you go, 500. And the total cost of my inventory will be this number here with my points. Come on. That's adding up the items on hand, but we don't need this part. We can I just filled in the formula. So then there you go. Yeah, so our total inventory on hand is 500 units and it cost in total 2,185. Now, if you guys calculate this, does 612.50 plus our 1572.50 equal this? It should. Okay, so usually at the end of the period, that's what you would do just to make sure that you confirm when we're dealing with our general ledger, our inventory worksheet, and our journal, and when we do our financial statements, your ending inventory should be this quantity right here. Okay. All right, good. So the second time around, like I said, that's what I mean. Usually the first time people get confused because it's like, I'm watching you, I don't know what's going on, what is going on. Second time when we reiterate and we do another example, that's when you start getting, it makes sense. It starts to make sense. So again, with time and practice, we're going to eventually get to the end goal where we understand what is going on. So in this case, yes. And that was my goal. Confused in the beginning, and then eventually you'll get it. All right? So again, practice truly does make perfect. Okay? Any other questions in regards to this inventory worksheet on hand? Or I'm sorry, this inventory worksheet. Yes.
I just have a question about what you just said at the very end. We're not going to transfer it like that though at the 500 though.
No. This is for when you're summing up.
Okay.
Yeah. And you'll understand what I mean when we dive into our fictitious business for Coffee Cafe, because at the end of the day, right? You cannot tell someone that I have 500 items. You have to tell them what's the total of the 500 items. And in this case, you can't be like, well, I have inventory item for 150 that cost me this, and then I'm going to journalize another inventory item for 350. It's easier to just combine them together, and this is why you at the end of the day, when you have ending inventory, regardless of what method you're using, you're gonna grab yourself the whole total cost of both of them combined.
That's what shows the overall total
So
cost.
exactly. So in this case, it tells you you should have 500 units on hand. That's correct. how much is that going to total in cost? It's going to cost me here $2,185 even. Okay, so good. Now, so when we continue, we're going to continue practicing this method until eventually we can take those training wheels off and be able to just do it directly into inventory without having to calculate this extra mess. Now, again, it's based on every individual. If this, if this is something, a method that makes sense to you and it's clarifying to you, do it. If it's simpler to just not have this clutter and make it very clean, then we'll look at the other way as well. Because again, as we progress in accounting, right? If you're a beginner, eventually with time, you're going to find shortcuts and easier ways to do your things because you've done it so many times that it's just easier and quicker to just do this versus struggling and doing all this extra work. But again, it's dependent on every individual base. In this case, I want to make sure that I'm showing you exactly how things work, where the numbers are coming from, and how you actually are, decreasing your inventory. But as we gradually move on forth, you are not required because ultimately when we take the test, I don't require you to turn me in your answer sheets. You're gonna be able to do this on your own. And same thing going forth when you actually apply for a company and you're working for them. And if you do end up being an inventory manager, you're going to be doing this however you want to do it. Okay, whatever makes sense to you, whatever makes it easier for you. If you're the kind of visual person, highlight all you want. If it makes, just as long as it makes sense to you and then you get the correct answer. What I'm showing you here is a step-by-step. This is how it's done. Next time, we can take off our training wheels, and then when we move on forth, you do whatever the heck you want. Okay? All right, so let me go ahead and stop this recording.